I'm Ed Maguan, and you're listening to WokeUpPH, where we talk social issues relevant to today's youth. This week, a few months away from the second anniversary of the end of the Marawi Crisis, our Maranao brothers and sisters continue to face a humanitarian crisis, as thousands are still left displaced. While the Marawi Siege has made headlines in recent history, we look deeper into the root cause of the never-ending war in Mindanao. Today, we speak with former senatorial candidate Samira Gutoc. She is a resident of Marawi, a former member of the Bangsamoro Transition Commission, a former assemblywoman of the ARMM Legislative Assembly, and a longtime community leader. Samira, welcome to WokeUpPH.
Hi Ed, kumusta? Assalamualaikum.
Thank
Good
you, ma'am, for
afternoon.
making time. I
Hi to
know
Woke.
you're very busy when you're in Manila.
High respects to Woke. I really value the platform. It's very important for me to commit to this. And thank you, Ed.
Thank you, ma'am. And today we're gonna talk a lot about, as mentioned earlier, the Marawi Crisis, which I'm sure is very close to your heart, and the overall war in Mindanao that has been going on for decades. Because I feel like, as someone who grew up in Manila, that this issue, while ever since I was a child, I've known about the never-ending war in Mindanao. I feel like a lot of Filipinos feel so detached from it because, while it's always in the headlines, they don't see it for themselves. It's not something they experience in their day-to-day. And I guess what I want to achieve with this podcast is to make them realize that this is a very, very big issue, and it affects their fellow Filipinos as well.
Right.
And to start with that, I feel like, to really establish the problem that we're facing here, we really have to look deeper into the Muslims who are living in Mindanao. And if possible, could you just give us a brief history of, the Muslims living in Mindanao and anything that would be important for us to know in order for us to really understand the ingrained problem that we're seeing here?
Yeah. So if this is like a race car, like Fast and Furious competition, one of the cars in that Fast and Furious na mga race cars is not there, and one of it is really a big chunk of that race car competition, which is our history books, is the Muslim Filipino history book.
Okay.
And I put that that analogy, Ed, kasi parang yung mga young people are easily bored. So how do you make them read a very, very long history? It's not just 300 years of antagonism with the Spanish. They were always fighting the Spanish when it was 1521 onwards. The Muslims were fighting it out. But even prior to 1521, or 1565 ba, when we were found, when we were discovered as a country, what was our history prior to 1521, when we didn't have as much documentation?
Yeah, and this is not something that is taught very in-depth in schools.
As in our advocacy, which was just passed then by Senator Angara, was inclusion of Muslims in history books.
Right.
So right now, thank you to Podcast na Woke, that we are trying to say that my grandmother, my grandfather would say, he's not Filipino. But said, why are you not Filipino? He says, because I'm not a Christian. So he would associate being Christian to being Filipino. So prior to 1521, there was already in the 13th plus century na mga the first mosque that was placed in Tawi-Tawi. That because dun sa Tawi-Tawi, it was near Malaysia, Indonesia.
Right.
Yan yung entry point ng Islam. So the Malays, they were called the Malay archipelago, the Malay ancestors natin. They were spreading Islam through that, and this was because it came from the Arabs.
Right.
The Mediterranean. So knowing that Islam and the Christian world also were fighting, so there's this baggage talaga na we inherited.
Right.
Our generation, centuries and centuries later, tayong Gen Z na, kayong mga Gen Z. So that is the fight, the struggle right now, is that how do you get to know that Arabs who were, yes, there was the sword, they were trying to preach Islam, but there was also the soft approach wherein the Malays who got to convert to Islam were preaching also and trading also and finding greener pastures, not for conquest, but really, like Malaysia was never, right? Indonesia, or what was the Malay kingdom in the past? They never conquered, diba?
Right.
Formally, the Philippines. they went here through soft approach, which was trade.
Yes.
And, like introducing Islam in the archipelago. So Tawi-Tawi had Sheikh Maktoum as the first mosque.
Okay.
And advocacy just recent din ngayon to make it sana a tourist destination for not just sana tourists. I would really like say challenge the schools to bring our students to Tawi-Tawi, Bangsamoro right now. And so the history natin is that there was fighting between the Catholic dominant government,
Right.
Catholic dominated, Christianized, Spanish influenced government.
And this was during the time of the Spanish.
Yes, Spanish. The Spanish muna, then came the Americans. But there was already kasing influence ng Spanish sa mga Filipinos
Right.
who were the insulares.
Yes.
Yun. So yung divide na yun that we were the uncivilized South, the Muslims were the uncivilized. In fact, during the American period, there was also the Bureau of Uncivilized unit.
And what did this bureau do, ma'am?
Moros. They were targeting the Moros as a unit, as a subject na sila po yung parang kailangan natin i-educate. So there was there's this
There was an othering
database. There was like looking at them as, they're the wild tribes, so they need to be kind of like subjugated and like educated. There was entertainment, there was American films, they were shown in so actually the first Muslim Filipinos that we saw in pictures, kasi doon pa tayo ng pictures, right? Aside from the ones wearing malong, were those na modernized the Muslims na who were meron na silang mga mini skirts.
Okay.
Yeah, they were modern and yet Muslim that supposedly covered prayer time. But right now, yun nga, as it evolved, right now the Muslim Filipinos are integrated, though victim pa rin ng all-out wars.
Of course.
Of the after American period, the next presidents, the Filipino presidents, they were always having this policy of peace talks.
Okay.
That
never-ending peace talks.
Because we never got to get independence. Miswari put up independence as a platform.
Right.
Nur Miswari of UP.
Yes.
So it didn't happen. He founded the Moro National Liberation Front. Nag-faction yung MILF because they were the more religious revolutionaries.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, there was the MNLF,
1970.
and then may humiwalay na group from the MNLF, which is the MILF.
1980s, yes, 1980s. And then towards, they were anti-peace talks. Miswari entered peace talks. He accepted autonomy.
Right.
But he didn't accept the product of this autonomy. It was from the 13 provinces plus ng Mindanao.
The
whole of
ARMM,
Mindanao. No, the whole of Mindanao muna.
Okay, the whole
that
of
was the
Mindanao.
claim, 1970s. 13 provinces, including Palawan.
Okay, including Palawan.
That's
because
a long-
Palawan is very near the Borneo Island.
And prehistory.
Yes, right.
Prehistory that Islam was there. So yun ang demand and vision ni Ms. Warina to get the Islam, to get the Bangsamoro identity into a government as in the past, because they were sultans.
And they wanted like a totally separate country?
Unsubjugated.
Right.
And we were just put into that the landmark document, Treaty of Paris, 1898, sold by the Spanish, including Mindanao, unsubjugated Mindanao, to the to the Spanish, to the Americans. So 1898 was one landmark document na ginagamit natin na we did not form part of that annexation.
Right.
So there, Miswari demanded the whole Mindanao. It became 13 provinces, became 10, 11, 12, until 3 na lang ang nag-agree. Kasi you have to have a plebiscite per the Constitution.
Correct.
And syempre, since the 1940s, nagkaroon ng migration yan in. A lot of our northern, do you remember there was a policy of attraction to get to Mindanao.
Yes.
The land was fertile.
Yeah.
It was the green south, the pastures, wow, so rich in resources. So ang daming mga northern
bumaba.
Oh, so it's like the native Indians of America.
Correct.
That the challenge is don't make it a corporation, don't make our ancestral domain, plantations, subdivisions, turning.
But that's what happened.
That is our story. Simply put, that the natives became part and became native, not part, became part. Parang how do you call swing song? Seesaw na we really don't know where we belonged, were we Filipino or not. So we had these grandparents telling us we're not Filipinos, and yet we're Filipinos. We're already taking our oaths of flag. I mean, we're singing our Philippine national anthem. So we're here at 2019, Gen Z, you guys, we have that struggle of having already a peace talks. Pumasok na yung Bangsamoro. MILF sa national government through the peace talks BOL, which will accept already that we are part of this country. We are Filipino.
So that's a very landmark.
It is a landmark. But this is 20 years of peace talks since Ramos, 1996 in Libya, or was it in this Organization of Islamic Conference, 40 countries monitoring us.
Right now.
Because of the Southern Philippines ka Muslim dominated before, until yun nga mix na siya, that they were always crying war, we're being discriminated. Until right now, we're still the poorest of the country.
Correct.
We're still the poorest of the country. Now's the challenge, guys, Filipinos. Tayong mga kabataan, Gen Z. How can we recognize that one of our classmates, is part of a minority Muslims and she wants to get educated. She wants to be part of the Filipino identity. She wants to be part of this country.
So, ma'am, that paints for us a really good picture of, how we got to this point. And I feel like for a lot of listeners, that's not something they've necessarily known for sure. Maybe they've known bits and pieces from our history.
It's not written there.
Yeah.
There was
exactly,
no really storytelling.
Okay, we're back, ma'am. And one thing, you gave us a very good background of the history of what's happened in Mindanao. And something more recent, and I'm sure it's very close to your heart, is something that happened in 2017. It's the Marawi Siege. So, just also briefly, ma'am, for our listeners who aren't as well informed, I guess, about what happened during the Marawi Siege, could you give us a brief timeline of events of what happened last 2017?
Right. So Marawi is the Baguio of the South.
Okay.
It's very far. It's far in the sense it's kind of like on top of a location. It's very cold. Parang Baguio nga.
Okay.
So it's Marawi is the Baguio of the South. So parang relatively pati yung kultura niya insulated siya, Ed. Yung parang hindi siya talagang nag-incorporate, walang mall. There's no cinema. Can you imagine? Pupunta kami ng Iligan, which is an hour plus. An hour away, Cagayan de Oro, for movies, for a mall.
Okay.
So the young people, Mindanao State University, which is the biggest university there, UP, in Mindanao, is there, thankfully. So it became in the 1970s or 50s, it was founded then to become the laboratory for Muslim-Christian integration.
Okay.
So thankfully, meron tayong Mindanao State, which became the instrument by which, Muslims get to get education. Yung sabi ko sa'yo, our grandparents didn't want to be associated with education or Christianity kasi ma-educate daw sila, maging Kristiyano sila.
Okay.
That's their formula, that's their kind of like
that's what they
thinking.
Thought.
Na I'm not Filipino kasi I'm Christian. So, Marawi is that kind of community na parang frozen in time, I call it.
Okay.
Frozen in time kasi parang feeling niya nakamalong pa rin ng tao. Okay, naka-jeans yung mga kabataan, pero still they would be open to all arranged marriages.
Okay.
Diba? Yung mga things na nag-move on na tayo from there in Manila. So Marawi was victim of an attack because there's this culture nga, there's this community that hasn't yet been fully part of our country.
Right.
Fully part mainstreamed in our society. If we are accused in Marawi na nag-coddle daw ng drugs, nag-coddle daw ng terrorist, guys, nangyari rin sa Davao, yung Davao bombing. Pero hindi binomba ang buong Davao.
Okay.
The commercial center of Davao was not bombed. Why was Marawi different? Marawi was different because the president who was in a meeting in Russia decided that itong kaguluhan, may flags upon the endorsement, the black flags, etc., he decided to follow a military advice.
Okay. And this advice was?
This advice was to penetrate Marawi, make the military impose a armed solution. They're going to have bakbakan na.
Okay.
So period. Nagbakbakan. Hindi tayo nagkaroon ng negotiation, despite na meron tayong pwedeng IHL, International Humanitarian Law, meron peace talks, the BOL, the MILF, may peace talks tayo with MI ongoing, the Bangsamoro Organic Law is being put in place. Nada.
So, ma'am, what do you think was the ultimate goal of we'd call the militant groups who did this bombing in Marawi? What was their ultimate goal when they did this?
Because I started with yung culture na it was insulated.
Right.
Some people, 5, 8, 10, we did not coddle them.
Yeah.
They might think that putting up a flag, they have their own perception of what it is to be right. Like, parang ultra-right in America. Yung mga tipong America para sa mga puti.
Extremist.
This Maute, this group who had this black flag, exercising kanilang paniniwala, they thought na, going back to the straight way would be to a stricter form of Islam. No women in posters.
Okay.
In public posters, no music. Mga advocacy nila yun. So, anong gagawin natin with them? They're there. You're going to have to implement a program. Wala pang Bangsamoro government.
Okay.
My point being that there was this Maute, okay, they were 10, they were 15, they were 20. They were not fully coddled. Of course, we still have to put a program.
Right.
I was chairing an anti-crime watch program in Marawi. We sat formally with the full police and the army to put in certain advocate programs so that we can fight this closed-mindedness. And so it came to a point that nagbakbakan sila with the government because the government was serving a warrant to some of them. One of them being a Tausug from Sulu coming into Marawi, Mr. Hapilon.
Yes.
So yung kainitan na yon, nagkabukbakan sila in the highway, spilled over to escalated to a bigger conflict kasi nga parang the military took it upon themselves na yun na yung solution nila. Kailangan i-exterminate itong mga 10-15 guys.
Ma'am, you say 10 to 15, but some of the reports say hundreds?
Hundreds. We still really have to have an accounting of all of them because may mga dagdag daw, may mga may na-hostage, so nasama. So everybody else, it's already a haze.
Right.
It's a mix of, so there has never been a congressional investigation anyway.
So ma'am, would you say you're quite firm in the belief that it did not have to go to this level right away?
Of course.
Right.
Overkill yun. Pwedeng nangyari sa one attack in Davao did not attack the whole of Davao.
Right.
One attack in the Zamboanga airport did not attack the whole Zamboanga airport, the whole Zamboanga city. Diba? It was only 23 days Zamboanga Siege.
Right.
Na-contain ng mayor.
Right.
She was given a chance. Was our mayor given a chance? Nag-peace and order council meeting ba sila with the president? The president decided from a phone call in Russia.
And at this point, would you say that, okay, so we've established like it happened, they went into this all-out war.
Nagsalita tayo in Congress,
Correct.
FYI, that in July, July 22, before the SONA, was it the SONA, or the martial law hearing in July 22, we spoke there to oppose, based on certain instances in Mindanao, hindi lang Marawi, that there were abuse.
Right.
A woman who was pregnant was interrogated in Pagadian. Pinagtatanong-tanong siya, bakit ka dito may dextro sa bag mo? Kasi feeling niya as a hilot, in-advisean daw siya ng hilot niya, ganyan, magdala ng dextrose. Ano ba nakakapatay sa dextrose? I don't understand. Ang dami daw medicine yata sa bag niya. So it was really at the height, and I still oppose pa rin martial law kasi nga dapat po yung tao nananaig ang kanyang kalayaan sa Mindanao. Hindi kami iba sa Luzon. Hindi po kami dapat iniiba. May curfew kami, pwede naman po yun gawang order ng mayor.
Correct.
Diba? Pwede namang hindi kailangan martial law. Kasi ang batas ng martial law is dahil may rebellion, may lawlessness. Wala na po yun Bakit ibang trato sa amin?
Correct.
Hindi nga na evidence shows right now na hindi napabilis ang Marawi Rehab kung yun ang hinahabol nila na walang bidding wala daw para mabilisan yung pagprograma ng humanitarian. Hindi nangyari.
So ma'am, before we go naman to the rehabilitation, which we'll get to later, something I want to ask is that, did you feel like, okay, so the military went in, but do you feel like the Philippines was ready for this type of handling of this insurgency?
No. Urban warfare kasi nga, sabi nila, first time natin nagkaroon ng urban warfare na saludo nga tayo sa sundalo na they were there to protect the civilians.
Right.
Hindi naman pwede yung civilian na makipag-confront sa
Correct.
sa Maute. Kasi nga nagkaroon nga ng bakbakan na yun Yun na yun yun na naging mekanismo natin. Wala nang talagang nakipag-usap na tigilan niyo yung pinaggagawa niyo, kabataan kayong Maute. So, it could have been prevented such a very escalated conflict of 5 months.
Right.
Nangyari po 5 buwan, hindi naging 23 days gaya ng Zamboanga Siege. Kung ang formula ay tingnan natin ng Zamboanga Siege, merong control na nangyari na yung mayor ay inupuan niya yung nangyaring hostilities.
So basically, ma'am, also a lot of casualties could have been avoided.
1,000 or so. Hindi
from
natin alam.
any side, from
for both
civilians,
sides,
the military.
Ngayon, walang konkretong resolution ng mga walang peace of mind ng ilan dahil hindi nila alam kung namatay talaga. Hindi na nila nahanap yung katawan. 5 months, di ba? Di melted na yung katawan. So, ang binuri ng tao ay numero lang. Parang linagyan lang ng numero na, okay, in memory na lang.
Right.
In memoriam.
And ma'am, during the siege and even after the siege, ma'am, there have been reports of a lot of human rights violations and abuses. And there, statements have been released that, it would be looked into, justice will be brought to it. To this day, has there been justice brought to many of the supposed human rights violations that happened?
Mahirap po kasi i-DNA yung mga nag-melt na nakatawan. So, isa pong naging challenge doon sa mga namatayan na hindi pa rin makakakuha ng cash assistance right now for their surviving children.
Right.
Is that walang DNA, so they don't know if it's really their dad who died or somebody died. Walang katawan eh.
Okay.
So yung end point namin po is, dahil lang po ba walang nagsasalita at silensyo tayo sa Mindanao, napaka-safe natin kung bumaba ang krimen, yun ang peace, yun ang translation yun na walang HRV, walang human rights violation. Hindi po yun dapat ang ating measurement. So, human rights violation continues pag kontrolado yung pagdadaan mo ng katawan, yung burial ng katawan ng normal. Ngayon, normal na dapat normal na ang Mindanao. So, there was a report na yung isang babaeng pasyente, she could not pass through the 4 a.m. She was already wanting to give birth or a real serious checkup. Hindi siya makadaan doon sa checkpoint ng Maranao 4 a.m. dahil ang opening pa is 5 a.m. Kinailangan pa gisingin ng everybody. What if mamamatay na yung tao? Gusto niyo mga anak sa pinto sa It happened during the peacetime na yan.
Post
the
after
siege.
October na to.
October. After October, if my memory serves me right. And examples na hindi namin nado-document. Napakarami po yun.
So ma'am, let's go to the post-Marawi Siege and rehabilitation effort. First, I want to ask ma'am, why was there supposedly a need for an extension of martial law beyond December 31, 2017? Because originally, when it was first announced that there would be martial law, it was until only the end of 2017. But then it was further extended and then extended again. What was the reason given behind this?
Again, sa batas natin, it says rebellion lawlessness. Sabi ni President, hindi pa daw nawawala ang mga ilang terror elements in his speech. So, ang tanong namin po is, anong programa at sino na, ang ilan na ang nawala or na-identify na ba yung terror elements? Kasi hindi naman pwedeng forever.
Correct.
Hanggang yung presidential term niya, na baka maghingi na naman sila ngayon ng Disyembre ng extension.
Yes.
So kaya importante itong WokePodcast. Kasi, kunyari na mayroong mga kailangan i-claim, hindi naka-claim, dapat i-facilitate na po yan. Kasi nga po, under this so-called martial law time, parang ang problema ng tao lang is bahay.
Okay.
Ang problema niya is mobility, income. It's not conducive.
Correct.
Hindi po siya nakaka-encourage na yung tao dumarating sa gobyerno kasi takot siyang mailista siya na terorista.
Correct.
So yung ngayon po, yan ang problema po natin na in this post-Marawi Siege time, ang back to normalcy, tutuhanin sana ng gobyerno na wala na. Kung wala naman silang mahanap na terror elements na sinasabi ni President, di ibalik na nga sa normal, ibalik ang tao sa ground zero, hindi naman pa na ibabalik.
So basically, ma'am, sinasabi niyo na, kumbaga, yung itong martial law that's ongoing Mindanao is actually more naghihinder sa pag-normalize or go back to normal.
Reconstruction and normalcy, freedom of expression, yung mga taong gustong protesta, hindi makaprotesta, takot sila. Di ba po? So, can you imagine yung state of the nation namin, pinuntahan ka ng police ng umaga? Ano ba yan? Fundamental sa Constitution natin, the right to assemble. Hindi, tinatanong, oy, may rally dito. Oh, bakit masama ba mag-rally? Hindi naman yung rally. Forum. So parang defensive palagi yung civilian. Goodness sake. Yan hindi lang lumalabas sa media.
And can you paint the picture for us na ano ba yung sitwasyon ngayon sa Marawi? Ma'am, you have actually gone back to your residence in Marawi.
Yeah.
What is the situation like? Because we have reports naman na, you know, while there have been a lot of people who have been able to move back to Marawi, marami pa rin left displaced. So, just for our listeners now, parang to get a picture of what is life right now in Marawi.
Yung syudad na nasira ng Marawi Siege, May 23, 2017, we say 500,000 were displaced because it's not only Marawi City.
Yes.
It's all the provinces, surrounding municipalities. Apektado sila. So right now, nag-migrate na sa Manila, yung ilan.
Okay.
So, to paint a complete picture, meron kang mga nawala sa Marawi, probinsya ng Lanao, nandito sa outside of the ARMM, Bangsamoro, naghahanap ng hanap buhay. Then within Marawi, yes, bumalik gobyerno, bumalik normalcy ang mga hospital, pero yung kanilang confidence, their happiness, as a culture, yung napaka-close namin na, yung sabi namin, insulated kami sa mga nangyari sa buong mundo dahil sa close kami as to each other. Is nawala po yun. Kasi nga, yung nasira po na place of bakbakan is the tambayan and tambakan.
Correct.
Tambakan ng mga goods, all the commercial establishments are Luneta. Yan ang Menjola. Kung saan nagtitipon-tipon.
Na hindi pa ma'am na rehabilitate?
Never. 2 years from now.
Okay.
So, 3 SONAs later, 3 martial law hearings later, pang-apat na naman ngayon na martial law hearing. Kayong nagsasabi na, please be patient. Ayan, dilawan si Samira, nagsasalita naman anti-government about the programs. No. It has been shown, evidence has shown that fake news, ang sinasabing SWS survey, na we're happy with the rehabilitation, nothing concrete has happened in rebuilding structures. Electricity, water is zero. Kung wala kang elektrisidad at tubig, hindi ka makakapamuhay. Bakit hindi yun nauna after 2 years? My goodness.
And to be fair, ma'am, to you, your history is that when you worked previously, you were actually also appointed by President Duterte.
Crime Watch leader tayo, Ed. We've been working with government ever since 21 years old. I was an election volunteer ng NAMFREL kasi sabi nila problema is election cheating. Droga, meron tayong anti-crime watch. Hindi yan isang araw mawawala, President.
Right.
Mga DDS, hindi po yan mga kasangga na kapwa Pilipino. Hindi yan one day sasabihin natin, ay, kinokodol nyo yan. Hindi yan one day mamamatay lahat ang droga. Kailangan edukasyon. Kailangan merong mga MI na kasama mo, kasangga mo.
Systemic problem, ma'am.
And nasa yung MI na Bangsamoro, Muslim, ay kasama din ng security force para yung mga talagang mga masasamang balak na natatakot na rin. Kasi natatakot sila sa MI
Ma'am, let's talk about also this Marawi Fund na worth around 40 million pesos. Recently, maybe a month ago, there were news that came out na it's still pretty much intact. They addressed this by saying that they actually gave money from a different fund to help support Marawi. Could you help enlighten us a bit on this? What do you think is actually happening here?
Yung pera po kasi, since nag-create ang martial law at na hinawakan na nga ng national government lahat ng pondo na funding, donation, etc. for Marawi because it's a national issue, naging like one of the impetus nga ng martial law is nangyari sa Marawi, is that the funding is also supposedly to be audited nationally. Pero wala tayong nakitang audit, explanation, website na that itemizes how it was disbursed from Australia. From Australia lang parang $10 million. So yung 35 million na sinasabi mo, 40 million pesos na sinabi ng COA na isa lang ang 10,000 pesos na nabigyan na death assistance. Whatever happened to all these names, dosena, na binibigay namin sa inyo, City Health Office, binigay namin sa CHR, binigay namin sa City Government, Task Force Marawi, to validate all these names. 5 women dead, Fatima Lumabaw's children na 4 missing. Nagsulat pa siya kay President Duterte. Wala ba nagsusynchronize niyan at i-award na ng financial cash assistance
Right.
sila? So yes, meron nang naka-receive 70,000. Ang issue daw nila is inaabuso daw ng ilan na mga humahawak ng papel na there are insertions of non-qualified. They're not truly evacuees. Given, Yolanda happened, Sendong happened, disasters happened, may mga sumisingit na hindi talaga evacuee,
Right.
but are still within the environment. You're going to have a real error naman talaga.
Right.
But the thing is, there's just too much money. Where is the money going?
Right.
Our point is that if national agencies like Office of the Civil Defense is controlling the 40M, it must also have a special partnership with the OPG, the Open Governance Portal,
Okay.
so that people know that once Miss Fatima Lumabaw accessed, tapos ka na Fatima, huwag ka nang umiiyak dyan publiko na nakakuha ka na ng 4 children mo. 4 children ng funding, nakita namin sa internet, na-announce na.
Correct.
It's not happening. The mechanisms for explanation are all there, websites, hotlines.
And ma'am, this is 2 years later.
This is alarming, Ed. I mean, kayo ha, DDS, imagine niyo kung ginawa sa inyo yan, nawalan kayo ng lahat, pati ba naman cash assistance hindi ma-explain, tinanggap naman on your behalf. Diba?
Ma'am. And ma'am, I just want to focus also on the bigger issue at hand here, taking a bit of a macro perspective as well. So we spoke earlier, and what I got from it is that, in the past 20 years, the situation in Mindanao between the ARMM, things have actually, in a way, gotten better. Though it took very long, there have been very significant laws put in place.
May formalities
yes,
na.
may formalities put in place.
Rebellion in the past, always rebel.
Yes, ma'am.
In the outside the formal government.
And while we haven't reached naman na, perfect yung situation natin sa Mindanao, ano pa yung mga long-term solutions na nakikita nyo na kailangan pa i-enact ni government? Like, kumbaga ito yung pinaka-wishlist nyo na may enact ni government in the region so that we can continue to, move forward at least in a much faster rate than, 20 years.
Yung short term, isabihin ko kasi parang konkreto yun, Ed, before long term. So yung short term, syempre gusto ko malakas ang security force. Nag-recruit agad yung sundalo ng mga ng mga kwalipikadong mga Muslim na lalaki, Kristiyano mga lalaki, kasi nga kailangan at babae na multi-faith, multi-religious, integrated ang ating sundalo. So, since we're always looking at, abuse, yung mga matataas na military, kailangan kasama tayo doon. Hindi kami biktima palagi. So, active recruitment, dapat may slot agad yan. Kasi, ang issue naman is, parang hindi daw nakaka-qualify sila sa exams because of the lack of language.
Right.
Kasi, syempre, 40 years of war ba naman? So, wala masyadong siguro standardized na receive sila compared to PMA entry schools. So, kailangan po may special consideration tayo na baka hindi lang puros English, kundi baka meron silang ibang talento that would qualify them to enter the soldiers as reservists or as Navy or as police women or policemen. So ganun, kailangan po active recruitment po sa security force. Short term yon, long term din yon dahil sa kailangan may educational preparation yan. So kailangan we're going to have more people get into PMA. So until then, wala pang special slot system. So we want a more culturally diverse PMA in the future that really looks into a human security approach, hindi lang po bakbakan, hindi lang territorial defense. Problema pa nga natin is defending our own waters from China. We need our soldiers to be also peace-oriented in a peacetime. Wala nang war with the MILF. Yes, with the CPP, but it doesn't mean na bakbakan should be the resolution. Advocacy natin yun na maintindihan ng military at ng leadership ng Armed Forces of the Philippines that they're part of crafting a humane society, humane society, not just about shooting, not just about physical warfare. Hindi lang po sa bakbakan nakukuha ang seguridad.
I like what you said, ma'am.
Kailangan po yun. Long term yun. Then, of course, strengthen women's participation, yung mga vulnerable. Dapat may makita ng mga kababaihan, sumasama at mga kabataan. Kasi akala nila, puros na lang mga lalaking, mga matataas. Ama lang, siya lang ama ng tahanan. So, ama, lahat lang sila pwede maging politiko. Gusto natin mga kababaihan kasama na rin.
Tulad niyo, ma'am.
And decision making. Well, we were really looking at yung mga barangay kapitan level pa. To have more women run sa barangay kapitan out of 50,000 or so na mga barangay kapitan daw only less than 5,000 babae. So that's just 1% or so. Grabe, napaka-konti. So yun, mga ilang long terms ko po is really a structural, struktura ng gobyerno na lumakas po ang partisipasyon ng mga maliliit at mga indigenous peoples dyan po sa sundalo, sa judiciary, dapat may mga attorney tatay at huwes. Kasi ang problema nila, peace and order, di ba?
Right.
So you need to have also more lawyers. And when will there be more Muslims in Stanford? Napupunta ka doon, di ba? Ilan tayo makaka-Harvard? First, dito muna, sa Pilipinas.
True.
Step by step. So get us to PMA, get us to UP, have slots for people sa UST, hindi lang po sa UP. Kasi, pumunta nga ako sa UP sa College of Social Work graduation, konti talaga yung Muslim. Konti talaga yung indigenous peoples.
Right.
Konti yung Aita. Konti yung mga taong hindi nakikita natin normal. And when you have a classmate, Ed, because ikaw is isang Gen Z, when you have a classmate who's black, who's Aita, who's Muslim, I guarantee you're going to see a world of difference. Parang walang kulay, di ba? There's no kulay. She's also normal. She's not a rebel.
Right.
She's not a terrorist. So there's just going to have to be that society na kailangan po magkaroon na ng mga taong nakikita na natin sa Ayala na nakabelo ang mukha.
And ma'am, parang on the government, there really has to be a conscious effort kasi parang for them to just use the same structures and systems that they've always been using, but these structures and systems have actually, in a way, failed these other minority groups. They need to find a way na, to give, a special, for a lack of a better term, special treatment.
Anti-discrimination ordinance siya, it would ensure that there is active search by companies ng mga taong pwedeng i-employ nila na hindi the usual mainstream.
Right.
So we'd like to encourage all the municipalities sa Pilipinas, mga mayors na dapat may PWD sila at hindi lang PWD na nagtatrabaho sa munisipyo, kundi mismo Muslim.
Right.
Oo, tapos yung Muslim na yan, binibigyan siya ng oras, mag-explain sa flag ceremony, ano yung Islam, that kind of program na meron tayong Muslim-Christian integration, not just the Angara Bill na meron na tayo sa libro, DepEd, ng Muslim heroes in the books, etc.
Right.
Yun ang goal ni Angara yung Muslim heritage daw in the books na.
And ma'am, we'll move on to the last part of our podcast, which we always have in every episode. It's the call to action because of course, our goal with this podcast is really to mobilize the youth.
Aye.
And so, I wanna get your opinion na, ma'am, today kasi many have a tendency to feel, as I said in the intro, detached from the issues faced in Mindanao, which the Marawi Siege is included in. As Filipinos, why should the Filipino youth play a more active role in this, and what is the both maximum and the minimum the youth can do to get involved?
Bilang talagang I really work closely with the Gen Z. A lot of them are kind of like nagtitwitter pa sa akin, 13 years old, miss, I didn't get the vote, syempre, but what can I do? Is maybe just to share what you advocate for. So parang it's always my mantra, Ed, na I've been a youth leader 13 at the age of young age na I've traveled since 16 speaking in international conferences na naging buo ang aking pagkatao dahil konektado tayo We connect. Hindi mo hihintayin na merong dugo na makikita sa labas ng gate mo. Sinabi ko doon sa Philippine Business Conference ng mga business persons na bawat isa sa atin, kabataan, ina, businessman, walang pakialam, may pakialam pag may dugo na makikita ka in front of your gate. Ayaw mo naman hintayin yun, di ba? Paano yung mga namatayan? Hihintayin ba natin na may mangyari sa pinsan natin?
Right.
So you don't have to wait for that. Hindi dahil sa malayo ka sa tondo, wala ka ng pake.
Right.
It's gonna, one child hurt is already part of our kasalanan as a society. So ako, I feel very emotional about it na yung tayo mga kabataan have always been frontlining and can be frontline more na hindi tayo naniniwala na it's just the gaming generation, we're just scrolling so fast, okay lang, akads lang tayo, academics, because ang dami ko nakitang goodwill from the young people of Ateneo, etc., who've done something for disasters in Mindanao. They brought us donations.
Right.
I mean, it's just na hindi tayo nagkakarinigan because it's not so sexy to to read, and it doesn't get viral as much. So thank God that there are like mga flash mobs na I said in the student council conference, Southern Tagalog Youth Parliament, na yung flash mob, why can't we do a flash mob sa mga MRT or LRT na meron tayong mga cause pero hindi siya masyadong hard sell kasi nga minsan it's like it's just too heavy to kailangan malaman ng tungkol sa kapatayan. It's just we need to bring together, our hearts are the same, pareho tayong naghahangad ng kapayapaan, naghahangad tayo ng trabaho, naghahangad tayo ng pagmamahal. Let's do something together.
Right.
As simple as that. And if you cannot do it because you're afraid, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. There's a classmate, there's somebody else who can't eat. There's something wrong. So, yun ang akin. Feel more and see more, and mabubuo yung sarili mo eh. You get to be fully more whole as a person. And
conscious effort lang, ma'am.
It's a lesson learned ko talaga na I never regretted anything in my life being a teenager na I was always involved in anything. Exposure to the LGBT community, exposure to anything na seminar that can be of relevance sa akin. And I got to balance it out naman sa classes and ACADS, proving to my parents that I can balance it out.
Right.
You know, I'm just not a cum laude. Siyempre, ang dream nila, everybody's, my parents, is maging malaki ang grado mo. Pero ang grado mo ngayon, survivor ka, kahit mag-isa ka, kahit in an island, marunong ka kasi, you know yung skills mo, yung buong buko You've been a youth organizer and a youth leader. And that's my panawagan, call to action. Guys, paggising ka, alam mo na paano mamuhay. You're gonna get job anywhere. You know how to feed yourself. You know how to, it's medicine for yourself as well.
Right. Well, thank you for that, ma'am. Thank
Right,
you, Ma'am Samira Gutoc, for joining us on our podcast today.
Thank you, Ed. To the woke community, thank you. Keep being woke.
Thank you, ma'am. If you like this episode, share it with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review WokeUpPH wherever you listen to your podcast. That's all for this week. We'll see you next Wednesday for a new episode of WokeUpPH. Special thanks to our graphic designers, Az Rosales and Janina David. In an effort to bring in more perspectives, we're welcoming on board our 3 new producers, Carmela Bangsal, Jillian Pua, and Giles Sulit.